Somebody needs to hear this today. You know, I've done a similar video a while back, but God is bringing it into my heart to speak it today. And it is this: when people refuse to forgive you, move on. When people refuse to forgive you, move on. Galatians 5:1 says, "Stand fast in the liberty where you have been made free, and do not be entangled again in the yoke." The yoke is like that thing that they will put over like a domestic animal to keep them in line. You know, they put a yoke and things like that on like cattle so they can pull the cart. Do not be entangled again in the yoke of bondage. Whether or not you are guilty, most likely if you're apologizing, you go into them, you've done an offense, you've done wrong, you've made some mistakes, and you've done some things that they were not mistakes, they were deliberate acts. You did some things that were wrong, guys. And when God puts you in a place to ask for forgiveness, and even sometimes, as I spoke in a video yesterday, God lays it on your heart just to ask a person or a group for forgiveness, maybe for how you acted, because sometimes people do stuff and you finish it. They start it, you finish it, right? But guys, that is even wrong in God's eyes when you do it outside of His way, right? So regardless of what the scenario is, and what the Lord is really laying in my spirit is that you have offended, you have said, you have acted out, you did things that you were not supposed to do, whether it's to your parents, your siblings, family, friends, associates. You have asked for forgiveness and they do not want to forgive you. You have asked for forgiveness and they want to take you down this path of putting a yoke on you where you are supposed to be. It's like they want to be your personal warden now. So you did me wrong, and now, you asking for forgiveness is not enough, or you got to go through this. I have to be able to take you through some stuff because of what you did to me. And I'm here to tell you, God is saying, do not do it. If you've asked them to forgive you from the sincerity of your heart, and they refuse to forgive you, shake the dust off your feet and move ahead. God does not want any one of us to be in the yoke of bondage. None of us have a right to hold people in bondage for what they have done to us. We need to let it go, give it to the Lord, move forward, allow Him to heal us. Now, when I say let it go, I don't say that carelessly, because there are things that we have experienced, you have experienced, that is really horrible. Some of it was death, rape, abuse, loss, all of that. So in no way am I saying get over it, okay? Because that would be very rude and disrespectful of me to say. But what I'm saying to you is, in order for you to be healed, you have to trust the Lord. Now, I'm not talking to the unsaved person I'm speaking to everyone who will listen. But maybe to an unsafe person whose heart is not in a place to receive, this will be foolishness to them and they're going to try to argue it. So I can't go past that. But whoever has the ear to hear and your heart is in a place to hear what I'm saying, I'm here to tell you that healing comes from turning things over to God. Now, turning things over to God is not just a thing to say. When you truly understand that God is real and He does exist and He does care about everything that concerns you, then you understand that He can actually literally take you through the process of healing. He will listen to your tears. He will listen to your concerns and complaints. He will give you a time to grieve, but He also wants to heal you and bring you to a place of restoration. All right. So I never say it lightly, but I invite you to give everything to the Lord. And those of you that God tells you to go and apologize, you are not supposed to allow them to put you in a place, in a yoke of bondage, guys. Do not allow that to happen, because they will undo everything that God is doing in you. If the Lord has forgiven you and the Lord has given you His grace and His mercy, then they do not have any authority to try to hold you in bondage. If they don't want to speak to you and they don't want to accept your apology, even though it may break your heart, especially if you're close to them, God is saying to move ahead and let it go. Now, some of you might be in a catch-22 because you live with this person. You may even be married to this individual. I'm here to tell you that you need to go to the Lord, especially if you're a child or you are still living at home with your parents or something like that. You must always behave yourself wisely, continue to respect them, go before the Lord, pray to the Lord, ask him to give you a way out, a way out and through the situation, and trust him that he will do that. God is not going to allow you to become damaged no matter what it is that you're going through. If you're in a marriage, then you pray to the Lord and ask the Lord how he wants you to proceed in the situation. Remember, in all things in the marriage, for those that you are Christians, you must always exemplify Christ. Now, Christ was no punk, and Christ didn't allow himself to be taken advantage of, but there are times when God was silent, when God did not feel like he needed to speak, and there were times that he did speak. But in all things, you need to be led by Christ. Now, let me be clear. When I'm saying there's times he's silent and time he spoke, I am not saying that you're supposed to be having malice in your house against your wife or your husband, but rather using wisdom in what you need to engage in and what you need to just be at peace in, even if it seems that that person is just, being very rude or whatever the case may be. But in all things, God is going to bring you out. In every scenario in the Bible, we'll find that the children of Israel or certain people, or other instances in the Bible, such as Lot and things of that nature, there were in places where sin was all around them. Sin was all around them. The children of Israel was in Egypt. Sin was all around them. All types of things was going on. Lot was in Sodom and Gomorrah. Sin was around them, but they lived righteously. But there comes a time, guys, that after much grace has been given and much warning has been given, and you're there and you are being faithful in your behavior and how you're acting and you're doing right, when God is going to bring destruction and judgment, he's going to move you. He's going to move you. He's going to move you out. That's why some of your friendships and some of these things, they're not there anymore, because God sees the heart of people. God hears the conversations that people are having about you and plotting and planning. So sometimes this friendship suddenly disappears. They don't call you anymore. Suddenly this relationship is over. Suddenly God is moving you. Suddenly God is giving you a job or opportunity, something where you're leaving home. Guys, you got to realize that when the judgment of God is coming, you can't still be there. But I don't want to go off topic here. What I hear in my spirit is when people want to hold you in a noose and people want to become your personal warden and wants to punish you when you have asked for forgiveness, God is saying he has set you free. He has forgiven you for that sin. I don't care how awful it is. I don't care how shameworthy it is. God says, I have cleansed you. And what God has cleansed, let no man call unclean. You will find that in the New Testament. What God has cleansed, let no man call unclean. You are no longer in bondage to what you did, and you are no longer in bondage to what you said. God raised you up. He woke you up because you are new in him. If they do not forgive you, God says to move on because you are free in him. You no longer need to pay any debts for sin because he paid the debt for you, and he has freed you and he has forgiven you, and you need to walk in that. Be prayerful before the Lord. Search the scripture. Stay in his presence, cleave to him, hold tight to him, my brothers and sisters, so that you will not be pulled back again. All right? Have a wonderful day.